I had just finished hanging the laundry when I noticed something strange sticking out of my rusty old mailbox. A glimmer of gold caught my eye, shiny, foreign, almost out of place in the quiet, predictable corner of my life. Mail these days was bills, brochures, and occasionally a bank statement. Nothing special, nothing personal. But this envelope, it was beautiful, heavy, cream-colored, edged with gold foil, the kind of envelope that carries joy inside it, not sorrow. The kind carefully picked by someone who wants to impress or celebrate, someone who wants to include you. But the moment my fingers brushed the front, my breath hitched. My full name was written on it, not asterisk, mom asterisk, not even asterisk, mama asterisk, the name she once used when she ran to me with scraped knees and messy braids. Just asterisk asterisk, Sonia Patel asterisk asterisk. Her handwriting was unmistakable, elegant, slanted slightly to the right, the way it had been since she was 10, and determined to make every school project perfect. I traced the shaky loops of the letters, my heart already pounding. I stood at the door for a long time, envelope in hand, before I had the courage to open it. Inside was a glossy card with soft pink roses printed along the border and embossed golden letters. Asterisk asterisk, you are invited to the wedding of Enea and Ryan asterisk asterisk, my daughter. My only child, a wedding I hadn't even known was happening. For a moment, my vision blurred. I pressed a hand against the doorframe to steady myself. I should have been happy. A mother is supposed to smile when her daughter gets married, but instead I felt something quiet and cold slide beneath my ribs. Where was the phone call, the excited announcement, the mom guess what, the dress shopping I'd dreamed of doing with her? Instead, I was holding a formal card, one that felt more like an obligation than an invitation. Still, something warm fluttered inside me. Hope, fragile and foolish. Maybe this was her way of reaching out after all these years. Maybe she wanted me there, even if she didn't know how to say it. Maybe she wanted to fix things before starting her new life. I clutched the card against my chest, letting the hope linger, even though I knew better. Hope is a dangerous thing for a mother who has already been abandoned once, but still, I allowed myself the luxury of believing. For the next 3 days, I dressed that hope carefully. I bought a dress, a soft blue one. When she was small, she always said, "Mommy, you look like the sky in blue." I stared at myself in the mirror, trying to imagine if she would think that now. I even took out the silver necklace she'd given me on Mother's Day when she was 12. "Because you're my star," she had said. I held the necklace in my palm for a long time before gently putting it back. I didn't want to seem sentimental. I didn't want to embarrass her. My hands trembled while doing my hair. It wasn't nerves. It was fear disguised as hope. The drive to the wedding venue felt endless. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel each time a memory poked through her first day of school. Her laugh echoing in the park, the tears when her father moved out, the way she slowly drifted further away from me each year. He poisoned her mind. But this invitation, it made me believe maybe she remembered who I used to be to her. The mother who held her, fed her, protected her, loved her beyond reason, the mother she had forgotten. The venue was stunning, white drapes fluttering in the breeze, fairy lights wrapped around pillars, flowers arranged so beautifully they looked stolen from a painting. Guests were already gathering, laughter and chatter floating in the warm air. I straightened my dress, took a steadying breath, and walked toward the entrance. That's when everything inside me shattered. Right beside the archway, draped in roses and baby's breath, was a large signboard. On it hung a framed photograph of me, smiling, from years ago, and scrawled underneath in thick, aggressive red paint, asterisk asterisk, no entry. Asterisk asterisk, I froze. My feet stopped, my breath stopped, my heart, oh, my foolish heart. Cracked like thin glass, people turned. Some whispered, some looked away quickly, pretending they hadn't seen me. A few gave me that pitying glance, the kind that stabs deeper than cruelty. My knees felt weak, my throat burned, my fingers dug into my palm so hard my nails left marks. That photo, she had taken it at a picnic. I had been laughing because she smeared ice cream on my face, and now it was hanging there like a warning sign. Asterisk, stay out. Asterisk, asterisk, you do not belong here. Asterisk, asterisk, you are unwanted. Asterisk, I didn't ask questions, didn't call her name. Didn't walk inside demanding answers. Mothers don't beg to be loved by their children, not out loud. So I turned around quietly, slowly, with every step I felt myself breaking more. My heels clicked against the pavement, each sound echoing how stupid I'd been to hope. The world felt too bright, too loud, too cruel. A mother unnoticed, a mother unwelcome, a mother erased. By the time I reached my car, my hands shook so hard I could barely fit the key into the ignition. I drove home through blurry vision. Not crying, tears refused to come. The pain was too deep for that. It simply sat there, a heavy stone in my chest, pressing down on everything I was. When I got home, I slipped off my shoes and sat on the edge of my bed like a ghost. Minutes passed. Hours, maybe, I couldn't tell. The silence around me felt enormous. Then my phone, face down on the blanket, buzzed. Once, twice, 5 times in a row, I frowned, picked it up, turned it over, and froze. Asterisk, asterisk, 73 missed calls. Asterisk, asterisk, people often say the past is dead. Buried, gone, but mine isn't. Mine walks beside me like a shadow. Quiet, persistent, and impossible to outrun. After seeing that sign at the wedding, after driving home with my heartbeat echoing like a slow bruise inside my chest, I sat on my bed and stared at the wall. The quiet pressed on me so heavily, it felt like another weight I had to carry. And as I sat there still in my blue dress, my hair still pinned up, my makeup smudged from hours of silent shock, my mind drifted back to the years that brought me here. Not because I wanted to remember, because the memories demanded to be felt. It didn't happen overnight. Losing a child's love isn't like someone turning off a switch. It's slow, it's subtle. A gradual erosion, like waves eating away at rock, until one day you turn around and realize there's nothing left but jagged edges. When Anea was young, she was my shadow. She followed me everywhere with messy hair, mismatched socks, the loudest laugh in the world, and a heart so big it could barely fit inside her tiny chest. She used to hold my cheeks with her little hands and say, "Mommy, promise you'll never leave me." And I always answered, "Never," but in the end, it wasn't me who left. It was her, though she didn't walk away alone. She was gently pulled, coaxed, poisoned by her father. Aaron wasn't a bad man when I married him. Or maybe he was, and I was too young to see it, too hopeful, too eager to believe love could fix a man who had never fixed anything for himself. He was charming, magnetic, and impossibly good with words. That was his greatest talent. He could make himself look innocent even while holding the match that caused the fire. In the early years, we were happy, truly, but after Anaya was born, something shifted. He began resenting the attention I gave her. The exhaustion, the responsibility. He wanted the version of me from before, carefree, playful, always available, never tired. He didn't understand that motherhood reshapes a woman from the inside out. Instead, he saw it as betrayal. The fights started small. "You don't love me the way you used to. You only care about the baby. Everything is about you." Small cracks at first. Then the cracks widened. One evening, while I was feeding Anea mashed pumpkin, she accidentally flung a spoonful onto his shirt. He exploded, shouting, cursing, calling her a brat. She was one. I remember holding her close, shielding her tiny body with mine as she cried against my shoulder. I looked at him, and something inside me shifted toward fear. He didn't apologize. He never apologized. That became his pattern. Anger, blame, silence, and slowly the distance grew, between him and me, between me and peace. Between the home we pretended was fine. When Anea turned 7, Aaron crafted his masterpiece, the quiet, manipulative transformation of a father into a martyr. He cried in front of her often, real tears, dramatized pain. Your mother doesn't understand me. Mommy doesn't love Daddy anymore. She's always angry. Daddy is trying so hard. Except I wasn't angry. I was exhausted. I was trying to hold together a life that was crumbling, one argument at a time. But she was a child, an honest, trusting, soft-hearted child. She believed him because children always believe the parent who cries louder. I didn't fight back. I didn't want to drag her into the middle. I thought keeping quiet protected her. Instead, silence handed him the paintbrush that allowed him to repaint our history. By the time she was 10, he had become the fun parent. He bought her toys. I bought her books. He let her skip homework. I made sure she finished it. He let her eat ice cream before dinner. I cooked meals with vegetables she hated. To her, he became excitement, and I became rules. She was too young to understand that structure is love in disguise. The distance had begun. When she was 12, Aaron left. Not just left the house, left the family. But not before turning her into his emotional crutch. I'll miss you, he told her dramatically, but your mother, she doesn't want me here. Her small face had crumpled. I tried to comfort her, but she pushed me away and ran upstairs. For months after he moved out, she cried for him. And every time I held her, she stiffened. Every time I tried to talk to her, she shut down. She believed I pushed him out. No matter how gently I explained, she wouldn't hear me, because his version of the story was louder, and because I refused to drag her into adult wounds. Maybe that was my mistake. When she reached her teen years, the wall between us was complete. She no longer talked to me about school, stopped telling me about friendships, stopped laughing with me. It wasn't hate, it was worse, indifference, and then resentment. I became the parent she tolerated, the one she visited on schedule, the one she spoke to out of obligation, the one she rolled her eyes at when I asked too many questions. I watched her slipping away from me, inch by inch, like holding sand in my palms. By the time she left for college, we were strangers wearing familiar faces. When she got engaged, I learned about it from someone else, the same way I learned she moved out, the same way I learned she bought a new car. Every important milestone passed by me like a parade I wasn't invited to, and then the invitation. The one that made me believe she was extending a hand, but the sign at the entrance, the humiliation, proved one thing: the past wasn't past. It was alive, breathing, bleeding, and it had followed me all the way to her wedding day. I was still staring at my bedroom wall when the reality settled inside me like a stone. She didn't understand me. She never had. She never tried, because someone else had written the story of who I was supposed to be. And she believed him. Outside, the world was quiet. Inside, my phone buzzed endlessly. 73 missed calls. All from the same past I tried so desperately to shield her from. When the 73rd missed call buzzed on my phone, I thought for a moment the screen might crack from the vibration. It trembled violently on my bed, as if the device itself was panicking, begging me to pick it up because something, somewhere, had gone terribly wrong. I stared at it from across the room. I hadn't changed out of my blue dress, hadn't removed the pins holding my hair, hadn't even taken off my shoes. I was frozen in the same position I'd been in since I returned from the wedding hall. Back straight, hands limp in my lap, eyes blank, heart numb. The humiliation at the entrance still replayed behind my eyelids like a cruel movie. I couldn't stop watching. My picture, no entry, people staring, my daughter's wedding decorations standing proudly behind the sign that practically screamed she didn't want me. And now, asterisk, asterisk, call after call after call. Asterisk, asterisk, my sister, my cousins, her friends, even my ex-husband's relatives. And then my daughter, her name appeared over 50 times. Each time my thumb hovered over the answer button, then retreated. What was I supposed to say? Asterisk, hello, yes, I saw your little sign banning me from your life. Lovely wedding Dacre choice, by the way. Asterisk no. Even my pain had dignity. The 74th call came from my sister again. This time, something inside me cracked enough that I answered. "Sonia," she screamed before I could get a word out. "Thank God. Why did you leave?" I swallowed. Why did I leave? My voice came out hollow. Almost a whisper. I could hear loud noises behind her music. People talking in frantic tones. Someone crying loudly. The atmosphere sounded chaotic, messy. Nothing like the elegant wedding I had seen. "Didn't you see the sign?" I finally said. Silence, then a shaky breath. "That's why," she whispered. Something in her voice told me she knew exactly what sign I meant. "What do you mean, that's why?" I asked, my throat tightening. She exhaled sharply. "You don't know, do you?" A strange coldness spread in my chest. "No, what? Sonia, that sign wasn't from Enea." My heart stopped. "What? It wasn't her," she said. "Aaron put it up." I felt the room tilt around me. Aaron, of course it was him. My sister continued quickly, talking too fast, as if she needed to get the truth out before it disappeared. "He told the wedding planner that you weren't allowed inside. He told them you caused too much stress, that you'd ruin her big day, that you were unpredictable. Unpredictable." A neat little word that wrapped every lie he'd ever told into one box. My throat burned, and Enea, she didn't stop him. Sonia, she didn't know. My breath hitched. "Not until half an hour ago. What happened?" I whispered, and then my sister told me. The truth unraveling in frantic, tangled strands. Guests saw the sign and started whispering. Some relatives recognized the photo instantly and were shocked. One of my cousins, bold, fiery, loyal, marched right up to Aaron. She asked loudly, "Why is Sonia barred from her own daughter's wedding?" People overheard. The groom's family overheard. The groom overheard. The groom confronted Enea. Everything exploded from there. I listened, breath held tight in my lungs, as my sister's words tumbled into my ear. "Enea didn't believe it at first," my sister said. "She thought someone was exaggerating. She laughed. But then she went to the entrance, and she saw it. She saw the sign, and she ripped it down herself." I closed my eyes, imagining it. My daughter, in her wedding dress, ripping apart a sign with my face on it. I didn't know whether to feel pain or relief. She started crying. My sister continued. In front of everyone, she kept saying, "Where's my mom? Where is she?" And when someone said you walked away without saying anything, she completely broke. A strange sensation washed over me, something like grief mixed with vindication, a feeling mothers rarely allow themselves to feel. Asterisk, I told you he was destroying us. You just never believed me. Asterisk, the phone vibrated again. This time it was a call waiting from asterisk asterisk, my daughter asterisk asterisk. My sister said softly, "Please answer her." I didn't want to. I didn't want to hear her crying. I didn't want her apologies or excuses or guilt. Driven pleas. But my finger, traitor that it was, accepted the call automatically. The line connected. For 3 seconds, there was nothing. Then Mom, her voice, my daughter's voice, broken, small. Not the cold, distant tone I had grown used to over the years, but the voice she had before she learned how to resent me. "Mom, please talk to me," she sobbed. "Please." I swallowed hard. Enea. She choked on her breath. "I didn't know. I swear, Mom, I didn't. Daddy told the planner you weren't coming. He told me you refused the invitation. I thought you didn't want to be here. I thought you." She broke down into a string of tears. I listened quietly, my heart aching and healing at the same time. "Mom, I didn't put that sign there," she cried. "I would never do that to you, never." I closed my eyes. Her words were sharp, not from cruelty, but from sincerity. "Enea," I whispered, "I'm so sorry." She whimpered. "I made them stop the ceremony. I've been looking for you everywhere. Can you please come back? Please, I'll come get you. Just tell me where you are. Mom, please." Her desperation sliced through every scar I had. "I'm home," I said quietly. She inhaled sharply. "Okay. Okay, I'm coming. No. There was a pause. A long, stunned pause. No, she repeated softly. I took a breath that tasted like years of swallowed pain. You need to finish your wedding, I said gently. This is your day, Ania, not mine, and I don't want you to ruin it for me. Mom, I don't care about the wedding right now, she cried. I care about you. A soft ache bloomed in my chest. For once she cared. But pain has its own dignity. And humiliation has its own memory. Ania, I said softly, we will talk tomorrow. Silence. Then the sound of her crying again, but quieter this time, like she finally understood something she had never understood before. What it feels like to lose someone slowly. I'll come tomorrow morning, she whispered. Okay. The line clicked, the buzzing stopped, the room fell silent again. But this time it wasn't the silence of abandonment. It was the silence before truth, and consequences finally arrive. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was restless, but because the silence was finally honest. It wasn't filled with questions anymore, or excuses, or the same tired ache that had followed me for years whenever my daughter's name passed through my thoughts. It was a different silence, a heavy one, a necessary one. The blue dress was still on me, wrinkled from hours of sitting. The hairpins had loosened, strands falling around my face. I looked nothing like the version of myself I had imagined when I left for the wedding earlier that day, a hopeful mother trying to find her place again. I looked like a woman who had finally seen the truth, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty for choosing myself. The next morning, the knock on my door came soft at first. Like someone scared, the sound itself would hurt me. I didn't get up immediately. I waited, 3 more knocks, gentle, trembling, hesitant. I finally opened the door. She stood there in a simple T-shirt and leggings, still wearing the remnants of her wedding makeup, smudged under her eyes. Her hair was tied loosely, not the elegant bun her stylist had crafted for her wedding. She didn't look like a bride. She looked like a child. My child. Broken, ashamed, lost. Mom, she whispered. I didn't say anything. I just stepped aside. She walked in slowly, her eyes scanning the room as if cataloging every quiet sorrow I had endured alone. She stopped near the sofa, turned toward me, and for a moment we just stood there, 2 women connected by blood and history, facing each other after years of silence, misunderstanding, and emotional distance. Then she broke. Her shoulders shook. She covered her face with both hands and cried, not the dramatic sobbing of someone looking for attention, but the raw, trembling, chest-aching kind of crying that comes only when the truth finally tears its way out. I'm sorry, she said between sobs. Mom, I'm so sorry. It wasn't loud. It wasn't theatrical. It was real. I felt something inside me soften. Not forgiveness, just softness. A loosening of the rope I had held tightly for years. Sit, I said quietly. She sat on the sofa like a child invited to explain a broken vase. I didn't know what he was doing, she said quickly, desperately. Dad told me you didn't want to come. He told me you were angry about the wedding, that you were embarrassed to show up alone, that you said attending would just remind you of your failed marriage. I believed him because he's always been the emotional one. I raised an eyebrow, emotional. She looked down. I know now. But growing up, he made me think you were the one who didn't care. I nodded slowly. Because I didn't cry in front of you, I said. Because when your father yelled, I stayed quiet. Because when he played the victim, I tried to keep peace. Because I protected you by hiding my pain. Her eyes filled with fresh tears. I never realized what you were protecting me from. She whispered. He always said you pushed him away, that you ruined everything, that you didn't love him. I didn't know he was turning me against you. He didn't have to turn you, I said gently. You were a child. Children love the parent who entertains them, not the one who saves them. And he made sure being with him always felt lighter than being with me. She closed her eyes. At the wedding, when I saw the sign, everything crashed. It felt like someone hit me in the chest. It wasn't even the sign, Mom. It was the realization that I believed him. All these years, I believed him over you. I didn't speak. Let her words hang in the air. Let them sting. I kept thinking. She continued in a trembling voice that you were distant, that you weren't trying. But all these years, maybe it was me who wasn't trying. Her shoulders slumped. And yesterday, seeing that empty seat at the ceremony, knowing I had driven you away, I realized I had lost you even before I knew you were slipping. Her voice broke. Mom, I don't want to lose you. I inhaled slowly. The ache I had carried for years lifted just slightly. Not gone, but lighter, like a heavy suitcase finally set down. I'm not lost, I said, but I won't pretend I wasn't hurt. That sign, even if you didn't put it there, it opened every old wound your father ever carved. She wiped her tears, nodding frantically. I know, and I'm not asking you to forget it, or pretend it didn't happen. I want to fix this. I want us back, us. The word echoed softly. For years, us had been a shadow. Now it was in the room again, fragile and trembling like a candle that could be blown out with the slightest breath. Your wedding day, she whispered, should have included you. I ruined it. I ruined everything. I shook my head. No, he did. You just didn't stop him. Her face crumpled with guilt. And now, I added, a small, bittersweet smile forming, you finally understand what it feels like to be lied to by someone you trust. She nodded tearfully. I do, more than ever. A quiet moment passed. I could have forgiven her right there. I could have embraced her and erased everything. But some lessons require silence. Some wounds need time, and mothers, real mothers, don't rush healing. They guide it. Your wedding must have been chaotic, I said. She laughed through tears. Half the guests saw me cry, the other half saw me ripping a sign apart. Ryan's mother was trying to calm me down while everyone kept asking where you were. And Aaron, she hesitated. I stared at her until she spoke. He left, she whispered. When people started questioning him, when Ryan yelled at him, when relatives told him what he did was cruel, he walked out before the ceremony even started. I nodded once. Coward, just like always. What about the wedding? I asked. She sighed. We postponed the ceremony, not officially, just emotionally. I couldn't walk down the aisle with that hole inside me. Then she looked up, her eyes searching mine with a depth I hadn't seen since she was a child. I wanted you there, she said softly. Not for pictures, not for show. I wanted my mother with me. For the first time since this entire nightmare began, tears slipped down my cheeks. Slow, gentle, not from pain, from release. She reached out slowly, afraid I might pull away. I didn't. Her fingers wrapped around mine like they used to when she was small. Mom, she whispered, I want a second ceremony, a proper one, with you there. Will you give me away? The question hit me like a warm wave, unexpected, overwhelming, healing. I exhaled shakily. We'll see, I said gently, squeezing her hand. Not a yes, not a no, a door slightly open, enough to make her cry again. But this time with relief. People think revenge must be loud shouting, accusations, dramatic scenes. But sweet revenge, it's soft, quiet, graceful. It's walking away from the wedding, so she learns your absence hurts more than your presence. It's letting her feel the weight of trusting the wrong person. It's making her realize your worth by finally choosing yourself first. It's healing on your terms, not when guilt forces you. And in that moment, watching her sit on my sofa, crying into her hands not out of fear, but out of genuine remorse, I realized something. The sweetest revenge is truth. The truth she finally saw, the truth she finally felt, the truth she could no longer ignore, and in the softness of that truth, we found the beginning of something new. Not perfect, not instant, but real, a chance to rebuild. this time on ground not cracked by lies, a softer ending, a new beginning between a mother and a daughter who had both, finally, found their way home.